Excretion is the process of removal of non-gaseous nitrogenous waste from the body. These non-gaseous nitrogenous wastes are derived from the metabolic outputs of the proteins. They include the urea, uric acid, the ammonia. The highly toxic ammonia cannot be remain in the body and therefore it is converted into urea by the ornithine cycle. With this very brief introduction, let us begin to discuss the general or the normal physiological functions of the kidneys. Students, don't think that the kidneys are only excretory in nature that filters the blood to make the urine, but also kidneys are having a large number of functions. So we will start with two headings. What do you mean by excretion, excretory system types, and the second, what is kidney, what are the functions of the kidney. And in the coming lectures, we are going to discuss the parts, nephrons, types, structure and organization. So we are starting with this particular word, excretion. Before going into the details, please like and subscribe my channel. Excretory system, the mammalian system or the mammalian body is having a system which comprises of various structures which are associated with removal of the nitrogenous waste as well as other waste of the body. So let's see how they are. The first one I can say that is kidneys, a pair of kidneys. These are primarily involved in filtration of blood and they are involved in the removal of nitrogenous waste which are non-gaseous, urea, uric acid, creatinine. They are ammonia. They are all said to be the nitrogenous waste. Creatinine is a waste product from the skeletal muscles contraction. They also involve several other metabolic waste. They remove drugs, toxins as well as the metabolic waste like the bilirubin, which is the product of the hemoglobin degradation. They are also associated with the removal of antibiotics, biotics and feed additives and their derivatives. That means kidneys are serving as the structure to remove all this from our body. Kidneys also remove heavy metals from the body. This is peculiar, but it is true that heavy metals which are coming to the body, they are also being excreted by the kidneys. The various types of toxins and their metabolites, they are also removed by these kidneys. That means kidney serves as the major excretory organ of the body. Along with this, the kidneys, they are also excretes the hormones and their metabolites. That means as a whole, almost all the metabolites are removed from the body by the kidneys. The second which comes to my mind is the pulmonary system, and specifically I can say lungs, or we can use the word respiratory system. This is another major system which is involved in the process of removal of the excretory waste. And what are they? Now they are, no doubt, they are removing the carbon dioxide, but they are also removing gaseous substances. These gaseous substances, which are being dissolved in the blood, when they are coming to the lungs, they are also excreted out or removed out. Then vapors, then volatile substances, they are also removed by this respiratory system. Along with this, the soluble particulates which contains almost all the aerosols, that is air dissolved compounds. It may include toxins, bacteria, organisms, heavy metals, other pollutants, whatever you think, they are also excreted out by the lungs. That means it plays the second major role in the process of removal of waste. Now coming to the third part is the skin, one of the largest organ of our body in terms of its surface area as well as weight. This is provided with specialized glands like sebaceous gland and the sweat glands. They are porous, they are thin, they are not respiratory in nature in case of mammals and particularly in the human and animals, but that serves as the major source of excretion of sweat, sebum, that means oils, fatty acids, electrolytes like the sodium, the chloride, they are also excreted by the skin surface. That means skin also serves as one of the major surfaces of excretion. Besides that, I can use another term, that is our GI tract. The gastrointestinal tract, particularly the large intestine, it is having the colon, the cecum, the rectum and the anus. They are the structures through which the feces come. We should not confuse the feces along with the excretory waste. But yes, feces also contains the undigested food, which is not digested, as well as the enzymes, the microbes and other waste which are not being absorbed in the intestine, and they are also the salts, minerals, they also come along with the heavy metals. If they are injected, then some of the toxins or the poisons, if they are not absorbed along the length of the stomach, they are also being released by this GI tract. But that term is known as the feces, which the major part is the undigested food along with the microbial population of the GI tract. Now coming to the last structure, which is said to be the liver. The liver is the major source of the metabolism. It is the structure which is involved in so many number of metabolic activities. That's why it serves as one of the most busiest organs of our body in producing the toxins, metabolites, intermediates, and they are also removed into the portal circulation or into the bile or to the intestine or to the normal circulation or general circulation. So therefore, what I am saying, the liver is also serving as an excretory structure which are not at all required by the body for the process of utilization or retention. Similarly, I can also say there is another gland is there, that is lacrimal glands or the tear gland. They are also serving as the source of excretion of the salts, electrolytes, microbes, mucus and other substances which are continuously encountering our eyes. So lacrimation is the process from the lacrimal gland which is having the tear, and that protects not only the eyes, keeping them hydrated, but also it removes those substances which are irritating to the eye and protect the eye from the inherent infections. That means lacrimal glands also serve as excretory structure for those soluble particles which are coming in contact with the surface of the eyes. Besides these glands, our salivary glands also serve as an excretory structure. Our nasal structure, which is removing the soluble particulates which are present in the nasal tract, that also serve as an excretory structure. Our tongue surfaces mouth, that also serves as an excretory structure. But as a whole, when we define excretion, we are pointing out towards the kidneys. Our focus is on the kidneys because that excretes the major waste that's known as the nitrogenous waste. And we are very much focused on those toxic reagents or the toxic chemicals which are produced, can be very toxic and even kill the individual. That's why they need to be removed, and hence our major focus of this excretory system will be on kidneys. Now let us jump into the second second flow chart where I am showing what are the different functions of the kidneys, and with this we will come to the conclusion. Kidneys are paired structure. They are present in our lumbar region, just behind the stomach or the liver towards the posterior side. You can say they are being surfaced over the vertebrae. We'll discuss in the kidney structure. They are said to be autoregulatory because they are having sensing mechanisms which sense the changes in the salts, electrolytes, you can say water, osmolarity, and that makes blood pressure, that makes the kidney so specialized. The autoregulatory structures are present inside the kidney itself, being known as the juxtaglomerular apparatus. It contains those cells which sense the second to second minor changes or minute changes in the blood. Therefore, it makes the kidneys very specialized. Kidneys are receiving the highest cardiac output of the body, around 25% of the total cardiac output, equal to 1250 ml per minute. Kidneys are filtering 200 liters of blood per day, out of which 198 liters is remaining in the body and 2 liters is coming in the form of urine. That makes kidney again more dynamic. Means kidneys can sense, kidneys can change, kidneys can maintain. That means I can say in one word, this is the major structure which maintains the homeostasis, not hemostasis, homeostasis. That's a constancy inside the internal environment of the body with respect to the changes in the external environment, or I can say a harmony of physiological parameters, biochemical parameters inside the living system is known as homeostasis. So let's see how the kidneys are dynamic with respect to their functions. So this is the final flow chart of this class where we are seeing how the kidneys are being regulating the bodily function. The number one is the removal of non-gaseous nitrogenous waste. As I said, that means this involves urea, uric acid, and ammonia. This is important. Then the second is removal of toxins, antibiotics and their residues, hormone residues, and enzymes or enzyme residues. That is the second point. Coming to the third point, it removes the heavy metals, the hemoglobin product known as the bilirubin in the form of urobilin or the urochrome. These are the products which are not going to retain. They remove the muscle derivative that is known as the creatinine. This acts as a kidney function marker. That means these are the substances which are removed in the form of urine. When we are saying urine, it contains 92% water and 8% solids. So these are some of the compounds which are being present in the urine, making the kidneys are the major structure. Now coming to the dynamic functions of the kidney. This is one part. It totally defines under the heading of urine. But now coming to the next point, that is long-term regulation of arterial blood pressure or systemic blood pressure and short-term regulation of arterial blood pressure. This is regulated via the renin system. This is important. This is regulated via the renin system, and this is regulated via the salts, the electrolytes and the fluid system. We will discuss in detail when we'll take the lectures on the kidney. Next, number 2, number 3, this is number 1 function, this is number 2 function, now this is number 3. It maintains osmolality of the body. This is another dynamic function of the kidney. Osmolarity of the body, osmotic gradient and osmotic receptors are highly sensitive to changes in the fluid and electrolyte balance of the body, particularly the fluid and its dissolved salts. So any change in that, it is being detected by the kidney tubules and it will send a message to the hypothalamic centers, which are said to be the osmotic regulators. Therefore, the osmotic balance of the body will be maintained. Next, after this, next, the fourth and the important point, it regulates the acid-base balance of the body. As you know that all the enzymes are pH specific and our body limits within a specific pH limit to carry out normal physiological functions. Energy production pathways, metabolic pathways, all requires enzymes. Therefore, a constant pH is always required to carry out all these functions. If the pH is going to be altered, body either may suffer from alkalosis or maybe from acidosis. Therefore, kidney sense the changes in the protein concentration and it tries to maintain within the limits, and that's why kidney acts as a potential buffering system at its various parts by retaining H plus or excreting H plus, retaining OH plus, OH minus or secreting OH minus. We will deal this under the heading selective reabsorption and how kidneys are making the pH to remain in a constant level. Next, I am coming to the fifth point. The fifth point, this is another very important point what I personally believe, that is secretion of a set of hormones. I cannot explain each and every hormone now, but yeah, we are going to discuss in the next lecture what are these hormones and how they are going to function. The number one is the kidney tubular cells or the juxtaglomerular cells. They secrete the renin, which is required for secretion, which is required for the synthesis of angiotensin 2. And as you know that this angiotensin 2, it is responsible for the secretion of aldosterone, and they maintain the RAS system, which is responsible for regulation of electrolyte as well as the fluid volume of the body, and directly saying they are the regulators of the blood pressure. So renin. Then the second hormone is calcitriol. This is otherwise known as 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is the activated form of vitamin D3. This is a hormone which causes retention of the calcium inside the body along with the phosphorus, but it acts on the enterocytes or the intestinal tract, where it causes a cyclic AMP mechanism mediated absorption of the calcium. So therefore, once the calcium increases, it mobilizes to the bone and gets deposited there. So this is another important hormone, that is 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol, or the activated form of vitamin D3, being known as the calcitriol. Next, the third one is the erythropoietin. As you know that this is the major hormone which is responsible for the erythropoiesis. It increases the RBC number, it facilitates or promotes the conversion of the PHSC cells into the rubricides and thereafter metarubricides, reticulocytes and erythrocytes. I have a full lecture on this because you know that erythropoietin secretion is mediated by hypoxia, and this hypoxia inducing factor alpha is responsible for regulation of erythropoietin function in the red bone marrow. So for the details, please visit the lecture on erythropoietin hypoxia triangle and how the RBCs are being formed. But we should not forget that the kidneys, they are the major source and the only very important source, rather I can say, for erythropoietin. No doubt it is also secreted from the liver, but only 10%. Due to the kidney disorders, we have seen that calcium abnormality occurs, blood pressure abnormality occurs, and this RBC means anemia-like symptoms develop because of these hormones. Next, the fourth one is thrombopoietin. This is the hormone which is causing the formation of the platelets. It converts the PHSA cells to the megakaryocytes, and the megakaryocytes give rise to the fragmented platelets. And this hormone modulates that process, enhances its formation because platelets show the receptors for this hormone thrombopoietin. Therefore, in the chronic kidney disorders, persons suffer from thrombocytopenia and therefore clotting disorders are being seen. So thrombopoietin is one of the most important hormone which is being secreted from these kidneys. And the last one, the inflammatory mediators and the hormones having multiple functions in the body, that is prostaglandins. These prostaglandins are also secreted from the kidneys, which are the potential regulators of the bodily functions in an autocrine, paracrine manner. So this makes kidney as an endocrine structure. So I have enlisted renin, calcitriol, erythropoietin, thrombopoietin and prostaglandin. I am indicating that these hormones are making kidney as an endocrine structure. Rather, I can say it makes them a potential sensor. And this sensor is not only balancing the electrolyte and the fluid volume, but also balancing the different types of blood cells in the body. This makes kidneys are very much important for the bodily functions. These autoregulatory functions are now coming to the end. But before going, we have to see another function of the kidney, that is the sixth function I can say, gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis means it's the conversion of non-carbohydrates into glucose. Particularly when the person fasts, then amino acids are converted into the glucose, and that process is known as gluconeogenesis. No doubt, liver and kidneys both are involved, but kidneys also shows gluconeogenesis. This makes the kidney another important structure to regulate the energy balance of the body, as we can say, as an indirect function of the kidney function. But yes, kidneys, they mediate this process. After completing this, we are now coming to understand that kidneys are having multiple functions. We will discuss in detail how this urea, this uric acid, ammonia, the creatinine, they are being formed and what they are carrying out. So with this very brief introduction, kidneys function come to an end. But before leaving, I should summarize these into 4 lines. Number 1 is removal of nitrogenous waste in the form of urine. Number 2 is the fluid and electrolyte balance. Number 3 is the acid-base balance. Number 4 is the regulation of blood pressure. And number 5 is the gluconeogenesis. Number 6, the most important I can say, that is the endocrine functions of the kidneys, where it is secreting 5 hormones which are regulating different processes of the body. So thank you so much for your patient hearing. Keep learning, and in the next lecture we are going to see what are nephrons, what are different types of nephrons, how nephrons are organized, and what are the physiological functions of the nephron. We'll compare the cortical nephrons with that of the juxtamedullary nephrons. So stay tuned for my next lecture. Thank you so much.